The film Raatinam has been directed by K.S. Thangaswamy and features Swati and Laghubaran as the lead pair. Swati, of course, I think has done movies earlier, and she has in this movie really come across very well. She plays a part of being a schoolgirl. She looks her age, she acts her age, she even sounds her age. Unlike some movies where they cast a well-known actress just because that will get them better mileage or the press will notice the movie more, they cast some totally inappropriate actress. But here in this movie, she is a dead ringer, dead fit for the role that she was, asked to do in this movie. So the word Raatinam, which I found out stands for the Ferris wheel, or for the giant wheel which runs at all the fairs in our country and all the temples and all the festivals that we have. That's almost like a standard feature. So maybe the naming of this movie is something to do with the ups and downs of lives, or the reason for that, I presume, is something like that. I'm not sure. I'll have to ask him if I ever meet him. I'll ask him, hey, what the hell was Raatinam all about? But it's a very simple story. It goes somewhat on the lines of Kadal, done so many years ago by Balaji Shaktivel. That movie, as you remember, that was it was a movie that broke a lot of myths. How you can't make a movie about school children, it won't hold people's attention, but that one really did. Both Bharat as well as Sandhya gained star status after that one movie. Whether they capitalized on that after that, I'm not sure, but that gave them a leg up in their career. So in this movie, we have a similar situation. It's teenage love. People don't take it seriously. And then every parent says, my daughter is discovered with some guy or with some boy gone out somewhere, even an innocent picnic, school escapade, and then they'll come back and they'll be caught and hauled over the ropes, over the coals, and probably been beaten, slapped sometimes, or made to go live in another city just to break it up. Of course, it's out of the concern that parents do that, but then people are people. They're getting mature earlier and earlier, I guess. So, and people get jobs at young ages, which you couldn't get in the old days. So people know about independence, and what is amazing is that in the theater there were a vast number of young people watching it, and they were like glued onto the screen because it must have rung a bell with them, in the sense it connected in their head, because what they're seeing out there is probably what they're going through, which is having a boyfriend or a girlfriend which they're trying to hide from the parents, and whom they're quite determined that they would like to marry as soon as they can. And strangely, it's the girls who are far, far, far more self-assured today than the boys. The boys, of course, how boys are. They're looking for some fun, as they say, and then they'll skip away. But the girls won't unless they see something in the guy. Sometimes it's you can sympathize with the parents because it's an obvious mismatch, but then otherwise movies are movies. But here in this case, Laghubaran is a perfect casting. He looks like an average guy. I mean, there's nothing to set him apart. There's no reason why the girl should fall in love with him, except that he's a very self-assured young character in the movie. And as an actor, he's pulled that off perfectly. And the interesting thing was that apparently he had met the director some years ago, and when he was an assistant to some other director, and he was kind of plump, overweight kind of fellow. But somewhere director has seen something. The Thangaswamy saw something in this boy Laghubaran and told him, listen, someday you should take up acting, but you're overweight and you should knock off weight. So this young fellow went and actually lost tons of weight, literally 20 kilos or something. So now he's a young, trimmed down youngster, like you see all over the place, And the movie is set in Tuticorin, which is again a relief. It doesn't automatically mean that it's a fishing story. You'll have all these fishing community stories. That's all they do in Tuticorin. But there are normal people holding normal jobs in Tuticorin also. So here in this movie, it's a story about a young man whose elder brother is into politics, and he is he's kind of owes an allegiance to a slightly older politician. So there are certain things that he can do and certain things he cannot do. And the girl's parents are slightly more well off. They are into business and they have connections too. So they try to stop this whole thing from moving forward, the boy and the girl. And they discovered during an innocent trip, and it is so real. Everything in the movie is so real. It doesn't look like that they are acting. It could be just like there's a camera following these two, and chronicling their daily life. It's a typical generation gap story. The girl sees something in the guy sees something in the girl, but their parents and the elders don't, and they want to stop it at any cost. Of course, they don't go down to beating each other, which normally happens, but it's still, there's violence, random violence, which, I think modern day society is like that. Violence erupts at the smallest provocation. This guy's brother goes to have a drink, a beer. Something happens there, there's a pushing, shoving, fighting, it's a full-fledged brawl, and then somebody hacks him and kills him. So there is needless tragedy also, but by far the movie stays away from violence, and thank God there are no stunts. There's nobody flying through the air, kicking and all that stuff. It's a very, very good story, very well done, and every little bit the director has thought through the movie, the right type of characters. Even his friends are not given to just passing comments at girls. Everybody's got their own little girl, some girl that they've got their eyes on. So, which is normal. This is how people are. Whether you are in New York or you're in Madras or in Tuticorin, that's the way people are. Girls and boys will look at each other, and that's part of life. So this movie is along those lines. The cinematographer, I must commend him, because he's managed to make Tuticorin look attractive. It's actually a very grey city because it's full of power plants and belching smoke into the air. But in spite of all that, the lovely shots of the sea and the harbour. And Tuticorin, if you remember, is an area which was famous for its pearl fishing. So there are a lot of reefs and rocks lying out, off the shore. So all that's beautifully brought out. Nice movie. All in all, an extremely good effort. And I'm glad that I got the chance to see this movie. On my own, I wouldn't have. But this is again one of those days when the movie I went to see in the multiplex was sold out. So I went to see Raatinam. And I'm glad I did it, and I must follow this director's career and see what else comes down the road. So, excellent movie. I don't know whether it got the patronage it deserved, but it certainly deserved to have a better than average run at the box office.